That, if you will, is the big goal or the um, end point of this 5 years. This is not a plan around transformational scale. This is a plan about getting better at what we do, growing in new ways, down a pathway that leads us to a place where CIS is modeled and that a larger body of work are more widely available in the United States. So that's the theory of change that sits on top of this whole plan, and then the three pillars that we've talked about so much. So now let me show you where we are in the draft work on goals and initiatives. And I'll stress again, this is a draft. We are in the process of gathering lots of feedback. That's part of what today is about. You know probably from the email chain that come out of this office that we've appointed a president affiliate advisory committee. 18 of your colleagues met with me Monday, I think. I think it was Monday of this week, and they saw all three of the strategic pillars sustained even angle. They gave a lot of feedback, and so I will already tell you that this work that you see here today is changing and making some edits based on their feedback, and I hope that you will choose your ideas as well. We're doing our very best to be as transparent as we can and show you the work in progress, but my purpose in that is not just transparency, it's trying to make the work better. So I would like to have your feedback. We've set 3 goals in the sustain pillar, and those are the lines in blue: achieve operational efficiency, improve revenue sustainability, and diversify revenue sources. Those are pretty self-explanatory, but by operational efficiencies, we mean at all levels of the organization. So that means changes in efficiency and effectiveness here at the national office. It also means those sorts of concepts applied to the affiliate network and then to the organization as a whole. Improving revenue sustainability, also pretty self-explanatory, but what I heard loud and clear as I traveled around the country was our revenue does a lot of this, goes up and down. If you are watching me, you can see my finger go up and down. It does the same thing here at the national office. One year our budget will be $25 million, and the next year it will be $17 million, and the next year it's $21 million. So the same ups and downs that you see in the field, we have here. So leveling that out through strategies around increasing public investment, government money, getting better at raising private money, those are important pieces of this plan. And then the last goal here is around diversifying revenue sources. This is really primarily earned income. We don't today derive revenue, certainly at the national office, and to my knowledge not at any substantial level at the affiliate office level, from earned income. And so after many years of research, we've conceived an initiative that would deliver revenue to the organization at all levels eventually, and it also has the virtue of field building. So those are the 3 goals that I want you to think about, the blue line. And let me talk about the initiatives that fall within those goals. In the achieve operational efficiencies, we're going down 2 tracks. This is, as I said, organizational efficiency around restructuring and alignment. This might mean that the national office has changed the work structure. It might mean reliance on consultants instead of staff, or a different kind of staffing. At the affiliate and state office level, it might mean examining strategies like we used in Mid-America. Mid-America is one affiliate that covers 5 states. Another state in our family is going through a really robust strategic planning program right now where they're looking at their affiliate and their structure and how they relate to the state office. So it might be things like that. It might be shared services where we can all share in bookkeeping or payroll services, or the way we share a lot of technology platforms and licenses with the affiliate. So it might be things like that. The other initiative in this bucket is building and strengthening human capital at all levels, something you hear about all the time. By all levels, we mean both board, volunteer. We have culture issues, diversity, equity, and inclusion issues when it comes to our boards. We want to help our boards do better in that regard. And at the staffing level, I hear a lot, where are all these site coordinators going to come from? As we grow like this, we have to get better at recruiting. We have to get much better at retaining. It used to be that the average life cycle of a site coordinator staying with us was about 5 years. That number is edging down depending on where you are in the country to as little as 2 to 3 years in some parts of the country. So we know that we have some human capital work to do as a strand of work or an initiative. In the revenue sustainability category, as I said, this is in the area of providing technical assistance. The best example I have for this is the work that was done last year when ESSA became law, and the organization held a series of meetings about, well, now what? How do you actually access Title I money now that it's available to you? But we know that we could provide technical assistance to the affiliates in other areas. How do you access Title I, Title III, Title IV-A? But how do you access TANF money, or SNAP money, or WIOA money? Or how would we conceive a strategy for Medicaid benefits as an organization? Those are areas in which we could provide technical assistance. One of the members of the President's Advisory Committee reminded me the other day that social impact are other ways to structure government contracts that we could access. But not just public money falls in this bucket for us. I also think that we could provide more technical assistance and back of house assistance on things like direct mail, or on how to approach foundations or large national corporate sponsorships. We don't do that in very many circumstances today. The two most notable, of course, are Altria and AT&T, but there might be a world in which a fast food corporation or a retail corporation became an underwriter of the organization at all levels. We could pursue those sorts of programs. So that's what that bucket is about. It's broadening the reach and scope of public and private money, but it's also about smoothing out those peaks and valleys. And then lastly is diversifying revenue sources, the one that folks often have the most questions about. The strategy for us there is about creating and delivering training and other fee-based resources for practitioners. This is people who are like CIS, it might be a not-for-profit organization, it might be a school district. We believe the business rules around this are such that we would not do training in jurisdictions where we are to start. There's fear I've heard for the last few months that that would cause we train them, then they wouldn't hire an affiliate. Totally understand that. But I've also been told by states and affiliates, look, if you just go in and we participate in the training, we might want to train in a neighboring school district where we don't have the capacity to expand yet. So I think over time there's ability for training revenue to fall not just to the national office bottom line, but to state and local affiliate bottom line. And I think there are other fee-based resources that we could, as an entity writ large in the country, provide and sell to the field. I think there's a slow burn on this one too. It starts out, the first year is probably developing curriculum and content and what those services look like. Probably nothing gets sold in the first year. Probably sales ramp up by the end of the fifth year. We've actually contracted with an outside entity called Community Wealth Partners. They're a spin-off of the Share Our Strength organization, and they do this kind of business planning for organizations like ours today. They were, in fact, an earned income strategy of Share Our Strength. And so we've been working with them to identify where is the market most likely to bear this kind of a product coming from us, what might the most likely curriculum or other tools and services be to start with. So we'll go in with our armed with information, the CIS likes to do, but there'll be lots of work over 5 years. It's not going to be turning on a spigot full of cash and having that fall to the bottom line. That's our overview, again, in draft of the 3 big goals and at least 4 of the big initiatives. Keep in mind then that under each of those initiatives are activities. There's a timeline. This happens in year 1. This doesn't happen until year 5. And there's a budget. So one of the last things I have to do in August is figure out if we can afford all this, if we can, in fact, raise this much money over the next 3 to 5 years before I recommend this to the national board. So there will be some winnowing. Some of these initiatives or activities will disappear because we won't have the capacity to do them, either financially or just bandwidth in the organization. But in general, this is the direction given to us by years of study around sustainability and scale and training in this organization. It's the permission we got from the national board in May to plan around these initiatives and to perfect the pathway towards these 3 goals, because we think they all roll up to a much more sustainable, stable organization at all levels. So I promised that I wouldn't talk the whole time. I'm going to spend time listening. So that's our overview. I'm going to shut up now, and you can type in your questions, or you can unmute your phone and tell me what you think.
Dale, it's Ava.
Hi, Ava.
Thank you. So, could the host put the last slide back up with the 4 goals?
All right, working on it.
We're working on it.
Okay. So until she gets it up. I don't know what all that is. I would ask, so Dale, thank you. I thought that was very well done, and I appreciate you're in listening mode. If I look at these 4 goals, which I don't have any argument about, I like them, which one would you prioritize as the most important?
This is a question of the week here. The President's Advisory Committee said the same thing. So if I have to put these in order, I'm going to pick improved sustainability, the technical assistance to affiliates. We have to get better at this. We have to teach folks to fish. That's first for me. We have to level out this playing field. Right after that, I would put training, diversifying revenue. We've got to diversify our base, or just teaching everybody to fish isn't going to be enough. And then lastly, I would do the organizational wonky stuff.
Okay. So Dale, you could be right. I will offer another point of view.
Please do.
I believe that the most important of all 4 of these, and it has to have its own category, is build and strengthen your human capital at all levels.
Okay. Great advice.
Well, Dale, that's what I do. I'm your board member. And my business is human capital, and what we know is an organization is nothing but its people.
Yep.
And you know the book I recommended that you read, Everybody Matters,
Yep.
the extraordinary power of caring for your people like your family.
Yep. Okay.
So it should be 4 goals. The first one is build and strengthen human capital. And then if you want to put improve revenue sustainability, number 2, diversify revenue sources, number 3, and achieve operational efficiencies, but take that number 2 out. It has its own area. It's number 1.
All right.
I'm done. I don't know if I have anything else to say yet, Dale, but thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I don't know how to do this. How do I do this? Yeah. I did it. Use audio.
If you're saying, how do I do this, we can hear you. You can just ask the question out loud.
Dale, this is Laura Kaiser from CIS in Mid-America. I didn't know that you could hear me. Sorry.
Hi, Laura.
Hi. But I'm glad you could hear me.
You bet.
I just think I love these goals very, very much. And to me, sustainability does not preclude building and strengthening human capital at all levels. That can be, simultaneous, but you've got to have that in the background, because if we don't, then we're going to continue to have up and down. So I agree with you that that's number 1, but I don't see that that precludes building and strengthening human capital as you go along.
Okay. Great. Anybody else? You can type or you can just talk.
Hey Dale, this is Lisa in Houston. I am looking at the number 3, provide technical assistance to affiliates, and I so appreciate that your focus is on supporting affiliates. I think when I read it as provide technical, what I see is something being given to I guess I would want to see this, or I would suggest that this be kind of a collaborative back and forth kind of thought sharing process, as opposed to one being given, one providing and giving to the other, but more of a back and forth would be my hope.
That's great. Words have power, so I'm cognizant of that. Appreciate it.
Lisa, can I build on that? This is Ava. I really like that. I would possibly use a word, Dale, something like co-create, co-develop.
Great.
Yes, Ava, you captured it. Thank you.
Nice.
Okay, Lisa, you're welcome.
This is Ron Turbyfield. I'm from Communities and Schools of Rowan County in North Carolina.
Hey there.
And one of the biggest issues we have facing us in terms of finding great people and keeping great people is the provision of benefits. We're an affiliate with only 10 employees and a budget of $300,000, and we're really unable at this point to provide health care benefits, and that's huge because young people coming out of school, people with kids, can't afford to work for us. What's being done with affiliates of our like size to provide professional benefits for our staff?
So thank you. One of the things that we would look at under improving efficiency and effectiveness is shared services. Benefits might fall in that category. I will tell you, the last time the organization looked at that issue, there are legal barriers to that because of the way we are organized. We are separate legal entities, and so you run into labor law issues, I'm told, with we tried to have an insurance pool or a benefits pool. But it's something I think we still have to examine because, as you have identified it, at least a half a dozen affiliates in your situation have, just to me, in the 9 months I've been here. So it's in our activity list. We're going to look for an answer for it.
So Joe, this is Ava again. Who was that from North Carolina that just spoke?
Ron Turbyfield from Rowan County.
Hi, Ron. Okay, so Dale, I'm going to offer an outside, not even in the box idea.
Okay.
We have 80 million boomers retiring from the U.S. workforce. You know that. You've heard my story. These people have benefits. They got retirement plans. Have we ever thought about converting them to become some of our site coordinators because they don't have the financial pressures that Ron just talked about because they got benefits. So it's less of an issue for them. And they want to give back.
Well, I have half of my staff are retired persons. I'm a retired person. When we went to replace the executive director of this affiliate, I was board chair. We got 100 resumes interested in this position until they found out that there were no benefits provided. And 95 of the 100 didn't want to talk with us any further. It's impossible for us now to have people make a career out of communities and schools. I am a boomer. I'm not going to work 10 years. I'm 61 years old. There's not 10 years in me. But if we're going to go out here and recruit and hire energetic, highly trained, college-degreed young people and not provide benefits, we're simply not going to be in the game.
You could be right, Ron. I agree with that. I can't argue with that.
Okay, any other topics? Last call.
Okay. One other thing, Ron, Dale, Ava. The thing that we have to be real careful about is that this is change. Everybody in our network is going to experience this as something very, very, very new and different. Yeah, see? You saw that Bill smile. How are you prepared to help people move through the new? Because as you and I talk, the brain on change goes to fear. You want to improve the efficiencies? That means I'm going to lose my job. I don't think I want to get on this train.
All right. So, one of the best tools for change management is to communicate. That's our responsibility at the national office, and that's what I intend to do. We're going to continue to do this, and we're going to be as participatory as possible. We can't change a single thing at the affiliate level without the affiliate's permission. All we can do is set standards. We've done that. So this will have to be a team effort. If folks don't want to be efficient, they don't want to achieve sustainability, they don't have to opt in. But I'm going to do my part. I'm going to continue to communicate. And I realize you can't hear me, those of you who are typing in, so we're going to find maybe a different speaker for me to communicate through. But in general, we're going to do what we've been doing in this plan. That's the best that we can do. We want to co-create this. That's why we're doing this process this way.
So Dale, I believe that is I agree with the approach. And in the book that I referenced earlier, it talked about the fact that when you're doing something to build a people-centric organization that's focused on people, one of the first things you want to tell them is that we expect everybody to step up. And we expect to have jobs for everybody. In fact, more jobs if we get this done right. That's one of the important things to communicate early. Second, they said, you have to look at yourself as a bus driver. Dale, you in Community Schools National, you're driving the bus around the block. And you're going to stop. And when people are ready to stop, get on, they will get on. And when people get on later, the people who've been on don't say, about time you got on, what took you so long? You don't do that. You're like, glad to have you. Come on, let's get this party started or going. So that's the kind of thing that he talks about in the book. I'm thinking, you're a bus. You keep going around. You're going to hit people every month or every 2 months. Those affiliates that are ready to jump on, come on. Others, hey, we're going to be back.
Hey, Ava, can you tell us the name of the book again?
It's called Everybody Matters.
Thanks, sir.
The Extraordinary Power of Caring for Your People Like Your Family.
Got it.
It is written by Bob Chapman, the CEO of Berry Wermiller, basically grew by acquiring over 80 companies, manufacturing, U.S. manufacturing, and have grown that company. And when they come in and they take over and acquire a company, the first thing they tell them, because, people thinking, oh, I'm going to lose my job. He's like, no, everybody's going to have their job, but we're going to operate different around here. It's going to be people-centric, people first. That's those 10 Commandments came from, Dale, that I sent you.
Great.
Yeah, and then that's how he gets people on board. And like, it's a matter of time. And here's the last one, and I'm done this with you. How many therapists does it take to change a light bulb, Dale?
One, but the light bulb really has to want to change.
There you go.
We're here all week, folks. Does anybody besides my friend Ava have a closing comment before we go?
Hi, this is Emily Kabza here at CIS of Kalamazoo. I did jump on a couple minutes late. I apologize. Wanted to find out where your legislative and public policy work falls, the goals that you have, the 3 big areas, and if it's not here, is it in another area?
Yep, great question. So legislative affairs, public advocacy is in the GROW bucket. It falls under our category of asserting field leadership. We talk about advocacy, legislative affairs, thought leadership, and brand communications. It's an arbitrary decision, but hey, I get to make those. And that webinar is on August 2nd.
I'm going to participate in all 3 of your webinars.
Awesome. Appreciate that.
No problem.
Anybody else?
Dale, this is Carol Lewis.
Hi, Carol.
Hey, I just want to also add to, we're in the process of, as we talk about process of change and really looking at sustainability in the network. As of July 17th, we've just hired 7 new staff members from affiliates around the state where we've begun to hire underneath an LLC. Those staff members will be eligible to buy into the insurance plans, retirement plans of the state office. It is reducing the burden at the local level and being able to quickly and more agilely provide services at the local level. So what you're talking about is something that we're in the process of doing here in Georgia. So I'm happy to walk this walk with you and also continue the shared learning and the things that we've learned as we merge existing affiliates as well as going into new locations with communities and schools with CIS services.
That's wonderful. I appreciate that very much.
Hi, Dale. This is Emily again in Kalamazoo.
Sure.
I have kind of a more vision picture question for you. If I'm an affiliate, how does life look different for me if these goals are achieved and reached? Like if we're a great affiliate, I think we have a great board, I think we have great staff, I think we have great business practices, I think we're doing everything we can to implement the ISS model with fidelity. I think we're successful in a lot of different ways. National achieves your goals, implements your initiatives. How does that look? What does that mean for me here at an affiliate level? What does that look like? What do you see that looking like?
Great question. So I believe that if the organization moves down a kind of pathway that we're describing, that at the end of this 5 years, the organization as a whole is better positioned to grow and, I guess, sleep nights, so you are less worried about sustainability. If you are delivering quality service and you have saturated your market, you might only look different in your relationship to the national office or your relationship to your sister affiliate. We have high-performing affiliates, and we still have affiliates that need help, and we have most are in the middle of a bell curve. So I believe at the local level, this feels most like I'm part of an organization that is better stitched together and that you understand the value proposition coming from the national office so that you can do work for kids in schools without wondering what comes next. That's what I believe, what I've sort of sensed in this organization is everybody's committed to kids. The organization's own ability to stitch itself together in a meaningful, sustainable, efficient way is really pretty sketchy across 155 organizations.
Dale, this is Ava. I would like to add to what you just said, to the vision. Because Emily, you're really right. It's like we're gonna do a lot of work, and at the end of the day, so what? This is what I believe, because I serve also as a board member on the Chicago board as well as national. I believe that when this is done well, and it will be done well, because that's what we do, grow with scale and fidelity and quality. You in Kalamazoo and your board will not have to be going out every year raising money and asking for new donors, because there will be a regular sustainable revenue stream of dollars coming in and continue to grow and support the work that we do to ensure that all kids graduate prepared to succeed.
Does that help, Emily?
Sounds like someone put the call on hold.
Yep. Which means they won't hear us and they have to take it off. We're checking it. All right. There you go.
Hi.
We fixed
Are
it.
you still there?
Can you hear us?
Yes, this is Emily again. I think that somewhat answers the question. I particularly love Ava's comment that we will no longer have to go out year after year and fundraise. That would be amazing. I'm on board with that. You mentioned kind of that affiliates better understand the value proposition of the national organization. What do you feel the value proposition is of the national organization, if I'm here an affiliate?
I think it's a series of things, and these are in no particular order. It's our evidence base, that you have a model that works, that you can receive public investment for. It's the brand identity of the organization. It's the technical assistance provided by the organization. And it's the organization's ability to move policy in a way that makes it easier for you to do your job. Those are probably the three things I would pick at the top of my list.
That's really helpful. Thank you.
Dale, this is Lisa Descant in Houston again.
Okay.
I've been thinking on this diversify, create and deliver training and other fee-based. We're doing some of that here in Houston, and it's what makes me guess that other affiliates might be creating some of the same. I'm wondering if before National kind of creates from ground zero some training workshops, modules that they might assess what currently exists within affiliates and invest back into the affiliate for their time and expertise into that, and then be able to use that based on real-world experience while kind of providing contribution to the affiliate as opposed to ground zero work. Do you know what I mean?
Short answer is yes. That's how we would propose in the first year to begin understanding what the curriculum is. Here's the way I describe this to the President's Advisory Committee. We don't provide direct service to students, y'all do. So if there's a program, for example, trauma-informed care, that's a course that ought to come out of the affiliate world. We might be the experts in, for example, the needs assessment or the application of the model, then we might develop that course. But we have to decide in the first year what the course offerings might look like. That'll require us to do a scan at all elevations.
Nice, thanks.
Dale, this is Ava. I want to go back to Emily's question and your response, and I want to turn the mirror on to Emily. Emily, what would you say is the value that you derive from being part of a national or that national CIS exists? What do you get out of it?
Ivy, that's a really great question. That some of the categories that Dale outlined are the things that I would really national organization as an affiliate. So I think that Dale's outlined 4 areas that I would agree with. Whether I think we're there yet, if I were honest, I would say no. I think for me personally speaking, as someone who does development and fundraising work, I don't know that I derive much benefit from what National has currently on hand. And that's to be very completely honest and transparent. Sorry if I hurt anyone's feelings.
Her feeling.
Emily, when somebody says something that we say, you know what, Emily, you could be right. Okay. So you didn't hurt anybody's feelings. I wanted the feedback. And if you had to say what was the most important value that you currently receive, and we know that how you guys get to sustainable revenue is not happening. Currently, what we do today, or what you believe should be most important, how would you rank them?
So I think to a certain degree, branding is really important. I think in our community, small as it may be compared to some of the larger metropolitan areas, it is a very crowded philanthropic landscape. We are a community very committed to education, very committed to the success of children. I would guess per capita we have more nonprofits serving kids in our community than most. At least some days that's what it feels like. And so having to distinguish our message and how we are different and what value we bring to to our community, to our students, to our families, is a daily battle I fight every day, and both against well-established organizations that have larger national presences like the United Way, the YMCA, some of our partner agencies like Big Brothers Big Sisters, Girls Clubs, and then smaller ones that are only operating in our community that have seen a need and feel compelled to do something about it and have sprung up. And so I think we had a community member who's a supporter who said, it's hard as a donor. There's just this general soup of goodness in the community, and you want to be putting your dollars where they're going to do the most good, but it's really hard to distinguish out of that soup what you should be investing in. And that's kind of what I work with every day, is how to distinguish ourselves out of the soup of goodness. And so I feel like having communities and schools be more of a household name would certainly be helpful, but also having communities and schools be a part of the public policy conversation, and also not having public policy that's detrimental to education in general would also be really helpful. I don't know if that answers your question or if I just went way off track.
I'll let Dale comment. However, I would like to, Dale, if you're open, to allow the other affiliate leaders to give their perspective on what Emily said, or where they think we add the most value and what they really need from us.
Sure, it's an open forum. I'm here to listen. Peter has typed in, Emily is speaking for many of us, and he has thanked her once before. Judith has typed in a question that is in a different lane, so I want her to know I have not lost that. But if you want to join this conversation, that's terrific. I would ask you, if you're giving me advice about improving sustainability of the organization, that's really helpful.
Question on the table for what are the most important things that you value from National today? What could we be doing more of that we're not?
Hang on just a second, Eva. Let me just say to the group, I have a survey that answered that question. So if you feel like you don't need to answer that question because I've already asked you, I have that survey information. So I want us to stay in a lane here.
Thank you, Dale, because I appreciate that.
I got a job to do as well. So I want folks to know they came to talk about this issue. So if you want to add to that conversation, feel free. But I do have that information. You value branding. You value development first and foremost. I can tell you that nationwide. So let me speak to Judith just for a little minute while you think about your comments. Judith, you've asked about accountability and are we building a new product here? What do we do if folks are not adhering to standards? I will tell you that we have placed that body of work in the deepen pillar. So I don't want to dodge your question, but we will continue the effort to be a standard-driven organization, to help affiliates who are not meeting standards get better through co-developing technical assistance. I like that language. But we do actually remove accreditation from groups. Over the first rollout of TQS, we removed a lot of accreditation. So we're often faulted for not holding folks accountable. As the new guy, you all have done a pretty good job of that. Maybe not as quickly as folks would like, but in a federated network, I think that the organization has achieved a pretty good balance there. But fidelity and achieving best practice will continue to remain an initiative of the organization, including TQS, including accreditation and quality. We'll talk about that in the next webinar. Thanks for the question. Anything else on this topic or things that you think contribute to sustainability of the organization that we should be planning towards, that we can do together?
So, Dale, this is just a word thing on diversified revenue sources, and we know we're going to co-create and deliver So the word training, you might want to expand to be education, training, development, whatever. That's all. It's just a word choice.
Yep. Okay. Any other thoughts?
I'm all in for kids, Dale.
I know you are. I think everybody on the phone is.
Keep it moving.
I appreciate the opinions and I appreciate the ideas. My job is to listen, to be as transparent as I can. I got lots of stakeholders to contribute to this plan. We're trying to hear every voice and reflect as much of that feedback as we can. So I appreciate the feedback. And we'll remind you that we have 2 more sessions coming up, one on Deepen, and Deepen is about the quality of our work as it stands today. So it's the world of research, learning, accreditation, improving the model. What does next generation research look like? It's also leaning forward into the world of innovation and what comes next. What products, services, or tools might we develop, technological or otherwise, that improve services to kids. So that webinar will be a lot about service to kids and your implementation of the model. So if you were interested in that, tune in. The growth webinar is a lot about the growth strategy of the organization, which, as you know, is a sort of a differentiated strategy. We invest in some markets because we cannot invest in all. There are 155 of you. And so we are investing in key markets today. What markets, what might that sort of a market strategy look like in the future? What other ways are there to grow? What other tools would we use besides the building of new affiliates everywhere? And then that's where the big body of work is about field leadership, advocacy, and communication, which feeds back to the value proposition of what we believe the national organization offers to its affiliates. So that's what's to come. It's like on soap opera where they show you next week on Dallas what's going to happen. So now you have a little idea of what's coming. With that, I'm going to thank you again for your time. I appreciate all the feedback and the words. It's very useful for us. So you all have a good week. Stay cool.
Thank you, Dale.
Thanks, Dale.
Thank you, Dale.